All right, let's get straight to it. Today, we're deconstructing the actual blueprint that separates the passive consumers from the architects, the people who actually engineer their own reality. And look, this isn't about little life hacks. This is about a complete overhaul of your entire operating system.
So let's dive right in, because you're faced with a fundamental choice right now. You either operate as a passive consumer, just absorbing whatever the world decides to feed you, or you become an architect. You're the one dictating the programming. You're the one designing the outcome. Seriously, the path you choose here defines everything that follows.
So, your first order of business, your first command, has to be over your own mind. And that starts with the information you let in. This is the absolute bedrock. If you don't control your own inputs, believe me, someone else is more than happy to do it for you.
That screen you're looking at, it is not neutral. It's not just some harmless escapism. It's an active programming tool. It is literally rewiring your brain and dictating your physical reactions. So the question is, what are you downloading? A script for weakness or blueprints for strategy? You have to understand that the default script, the one most people download, is basically poison disguised as entertainment. It makes you glorify being the underdog, it drills a scarcity mindset deep into your core, and it normalizes being a permanent victim. It literally teaches you to hate the people at the top of the food chain instead of figuring out how to climb it yourself. And this is the part that a lot of people don't want to hear. It comes down to absolute responsibility. You are the gardener of your own mental space. So if you let weeds take over your mind, well, the fault is yours, and yours alone.
Okay, so here's the tactical application. First, you take control before you even open an app. You decide what you want to get out of it. That immediately puts you ahead of the algorithm. Second, you pull the weeds ruthlessly. Unfollow anything and anyone that drains your energy. And finally, you intentionally flood your feed with builder content, stuff that reinforces a growth mindset. You actively architect your own digital world.
And this applies to what you listen to as well. Your speakers are programming your next move. You have to consciously select the music, the frequency that's going to build your confidence and morale. You are literally picking the soundtrack for the specific mission you're about to walk into.
All right, so once you've fortified your mind, once that's a lockdown space, you can start to engineer your ambitions with real precision. This brings us to pillar 2, becoming the architect of your ambition. To do this, we adopt what's called the Schofield strategy. This means you stop looking at your biggest goals as these impossible walls. Instead, you see them for what they are, intricate systems just waiting to be deconstructed. Think about it. Even a concrete prison can be cracked if you just have the patience to study its design.
And this right here, this is the method. First, you map out every single variable, every detail, every loophole. You treat your goal like an engineering project. Then, you curate your inner circle, because let's be honest, the people around you are either assets or liabilities. There's no in-between. You learn to adapt to chaos with a cool head. And finally, you prioritize strategic efficiency over just mindless grinding.
And that last point is absolutely critical. An architect does not exhaust themselves with blind, hard work. No, you replace that grind with modern AI leverage. You use tools to summarize research, to automate marketing, to handle logistics. This frees up your mental bandwidth so you can orchestrate the larger mission.
You know, we've all heard this a million times, but it's not just some cute platitude. It is a fundamental law of construction. Rushing the process is how you build a glass house, a structure that's just destined to shatter the second any real pressure is applied. The meticulous preparation, that's where the real value is actually created.
And finally, pillar 3. An architect has to command their environment. And this isn't achieved through being loud or aggressive, it's done through sheer presence and absolute, unshakable emotional control.
We don't watch characters like Thomas Shelby for the drama, we study them for the blueprint. The key lesson here is how to stand in the middle of an emotional battleground, facing trauma, betrayal, everything, without showing a single drop of fear on your face.
Now, a lot of people mistake this control for sadness or being emotionless. That's not it at all. He's simply a man on a mission, channeling every ounce of his energy toward one single purpose. He gets it. In the long run, respect is infinitely more valuable than being liked.
Or take a look at Raymond Reddington. He demonstrates that a superior level of knowledge, when it's communicated with that smooth, commanding rhythm, lets you completely own a space before you even say a word. Why? Because he's always light years ahead of everyone else in the room.
So after all this, what's the ultimate takeaway from this blueprint? What's the mandate?
Well, it's a fundamental, non-negotiable shift in your entire operational code.
You have to internalize this truth until it is literally part of your DNA. All that panic, the fighting over crumbs, the fear of loss, that's all a product of the consumer mindset. An architect knows the board has no limits. The vault is wide open.
And this slide really just sums up the whole transformation perfectly. It's a total shift in identity. You go from a victim who operates from a place of scarcity to a gardener who is actively cultivating abundance. You go from an employee trading time for money with blind hard work to an owner who uses strategic leverage to build entire systems. This is the core evolution.
You see, true freedom isn't passive. It's not about just kicking back. It is the active, and yeah, often heavy, responsibility of taking total, uncompromising control over your life, your mind, and all of your inputs.
So, the deconstruction is complete. The schematics are laid out right in front of you. The choice, right now, is yours to make.